Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the Court of the EDI Jester. How are we all? It's good to be back. And, here we go. I found a couple of things going back a while that are quite interesting. So let's get straight down to it. So there's two things here that we're going to look at. It's kind of like a before and after before, whichever way you want to put it. As usual, the links are in the doobries. I've got some recommendations for you today as well. So, because so much has been going on since I've been away and I've just caught up with a lot of it today. So there's some recommendations that I'll tell you about shortly, Shirley. So let's start with this. I want to talk about Desantis and Florida. So we're in the USA. Hello to my American followers and American warrior teachers. First off, I want to talk about a Florida teacher who has been under investigation for showing a Disney movie with a gay character. Now, this is interesting, I think, and I hope you'll find it interesting too. So let's begin. The Hernando County School Board has closed its investigation into a Florida teacher who showed the Disney film Strange World to her 5th grade class. Now, according to a copy of the district's final report provided to CNN by Jenna Barbie, the educator, Barbie said the Florida Department of Education's inappropriate conduct investigation is ongoing. A first-year teacher at Winding Waters, Winding Waters, what a lovely name, K-8 school, Barbie said she showed the 2022 film because it directly related to class curriculum, not because it portrayed Disney's first openly gay character. The animated film tells the story of a family of explorers, and Barbie said it was relevant to her lesson on ecosystems and the environment. Barbie was reported to the Florida Department of Education after a student told their mum, a member of the school board, about the film being shown. The school system subsequently opened its own investigation. The final report from Hernando County says the investigation was completed regarding the parent complaint. You had the PG-rated movies approval forms for all the students and had connected the movie to the curriculum being taught. The school system maintained Barbie violated the stand handbook, saying, but you are reminded that you must seek and receive administrative approval before showing a film or video. The report is signed by Carrie O'Rourke, who is the principal at the school in Brooksville. Barbie told CNN earlier this month there was no school protocol in place for clearing individual movies and said she had not been informed by the education department about which provision she was accused of violating. She said she emailed the Office of Professional Practice and Services at the Education Department requesting clarification, saying, I had permission slips signed for the students but did not obtain approval for the specific film. I was under the impression that the permission slip was sufficient and was unaware of any policy or procedure in place concerning the approval of specific films. If there was such a policy or procedure in place, she said, I am unaware of it ever being followed by my fellow teachers. This is not an excuse, but I am a first-year teacher and learn something new every day. So what we've got here is a first-year teacher, could be very young, don't know, and they've made an error in regards to one of the procedures at the school, which involves if you want to show a film, you've got to get it cleared first. Standard stuff, I would have thought, right? Standard stuff. Now, children, we're going to be watching The Exorcist. Standard stuff, I should think. Oh, I met a toddler while I was away. That was an experience. They're quite noisy, and they throw things. Food, mostly. It was very interesting. I haven't seen one for 20 years. Never mind that now, right. In the Hernando School District Staff Handbook for 2022-23, under lesson plans, it states, all electronic media, videos, CDs, DVDs, etc., used in the classroom must be related to the curriculum being taught, be grade level appropriate, and must be approved by school administration prior to viewing by students. So this was in the handbook. If it was in the handbook, what was the teacher writing to the department for when it was obvious that that was what she'd violated? Because she could have gone through it herself. She'd got the form saying, yep, parents are okay with this, but didn't actually go to the administration and say, you all right with me showing this? Interesting, right? Parents and school board member Shannon Rodriguez reported the showing of the movie to state education officials because Florida law bans the instruction of certain LGBTQ topics in schools. Remember this when we move on to the next one. It bans certain LGBTQ topics in schools. Florida Governor Ron Desantis signed legislation in March 2022 saying it was a form of parental rights, whilst opponents said it tried to erase LGBTQ people from schools and dubbed the law Don't Say Gay. The law initially applied to kindergarten through 3rd grade, but last month, Florida's State Education Board voted to expand the law's scope to include all grades through high school. Teachers who violate the state policy can be suspended or have their teaching licenses revoked. Barbie didn't know the law had been expanded to her grade level, she told CNN. I just found out today that they increased it to my level, the 5th grade teacher told CNN's Alison Camerota last week. I had no idea whatsoever this was such a big deal. Barbie has not retained an attorney and will not return to the district next year. She told CNN she had already submitted her resignation a week before the incident due to politics and the fear of not being able to say who you are. Being able to be who you are. In the public school system. The last day of a school student is May the 31st. There's something really weird about this. Well, you have a look and you let me know, but I think it's weird. She submitted her resignation a week before the incident due to politics and the fear of not being able to be who you are. So before the incident happened, she'd already put in her resignation because she was frightened of the politics and not being able to be who you are. Who exactly is this person? That's a good question, isn't it? First off, go and do some investigating, my little Twitteroids and YouTube Jesterites, and see what you can find. But this piqued my interest about what is the nature of the Ron Desantis law. Okay, fascinating. But before I get onto that, a couple of things I'm going to put in the doobries for you that I've come across. Let me just make sure I've got the right information. There's 2 things there that I think will be of interest to you. The first one is there's an interview with Stephanie Davis-Arai on Talk TV. So the link's in there for that, which is about global butterflies and their involvement in the new gender service. So you want to have a look at that. I might cover that a bit more depth another time. And secondly, there's a great podcast by a guy called Lou Perez, which is a podcast, it's episode 81 of his podcast, in which he interviews Malcolm from Twister Films. So that will be very, very well worth a read. So I would suggest that you go and have a look at both of those things. I put the links in the doobries for you, so they're already there. So without further ado, let's crack on to the second article that I want to cover today, which is about this law that this teacher seems to have, or seems not to have got caught up in. There's something not right about that first story, but you let me know what you think. Here comes the second one, as usual, links in the doobries, right? Tallahassee, Republican Florida governor, Desantis, added more wins to his agenda, targeting the LGBT community. Right? This is from AP News. Targeting the LGBTQ+ community as a state board approved expansion of what critics call the Don't Say Gay law on Wednesday. And the House passed bills on gender transition treatments, bathroom use, and keeping children out of drag shows. Right, so this is interesting. Bear in mind the teacher said she was afraid to be who she was, if it's a she, right? She's afraid to be who she was, okay? The Board of Education has approved a ban on classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity in all grades, expanding the law that bans those lessons up to grade 3 at the request of DeSantis as he gears up for an unexpected presidential run. So in essence, what they've done is they've said, you're not going to teach kids this age about sexual orientation and gender identity. So the rule change would ban lessons on sexual orientation and gender identity from grades 4 to 12, unless required by an existing state standards or as part of reproductive health instruction that students can choose not to take. That's the time when students are becoming aware of their sexuality. So there's nothing to do with banning gay people. There's nothing to do with LGBTQ. It's nothing to do with them, you bloody cuckoos, right? It's got nothing to do with these parasitic nonsense merchants. It's all of it. It's all of it. So if you're a straight teacher, you shouldn't be discussing your sexuality with the kids at any rate, right? So the proposal will take effect after a procedural notice period that lasts about a month, according to an Education Department spokesman. Now, this was on April the 20th, 2023. And the other story, which is the one that I first mentioned to you today, was on the, let's have a look a minute, it was on May the 23rd. So that's approximately... There's something not... Is it me, or does this not add up? Go and have a look yourselves. Let me know what you think. But I don't think it adds up. I think there's something wrong here. because that's 30 days after the law was passed. They said it would be about a month. So this teacher handed in her notice a week before the incident. It all just doesn't tie together to me. There's something we're not being told, I think. There's something we're not being told that is not giving us the truth about exactly what has happened in this particular school and why they think it's because of the law. The proposal, which took effect after the procedural notice period, Desantis' administration put forward the proposal last month as part of the Republicans' aggressive conservative agenda. People don't want their teachers discussing their sexuality or particularly gender identity and all the rubbish that comes with it with kids, and that's conservative, is it now? Right, okay. With the governor leaning heavily into cultural divides ahead of his looming White House candidacy. He previously directed questions to Education Commissioner Manny Diaz, who said it was meant, Manny Diaz Jr., who said it was meant to clarify confusion around the existing law and reinforce that teachers should not deviate from existing curriculums. So this sounds to me like the sort of guidance we're waiting to hear from our government here in the UK, which I think is terribly interesting. We're not removing anything here, Diaz Jr. said on Wednesday. All we are doing is we are setting the expectations so our teachers are clear that they are to teach to the standards. The prohibition has drawn intense backlash from critics who argue it marginalises look up at the Q people and has vague terms that result in self-censorship from teachers. Democratic President Joe Biden has called it hateful. I'm surprised he could manage to say anything. You can sum up America in one word. Foot. Nutter, right? It's not the only issue upsetting LGBTQ plus people in Florida. Also Wednesday, the House passed a bill to make it a felony to provide gender-affirming healthcare to transgender minors, another Desantis priority. So there is no such thing as a trans minor. Get lost, right? So that it's now a felony. Thank God we're moving in the right direction. Apparently what was said was by Republican Chase Tremont said, in the image of God he created them, male and female he created them. Folks, this is rock solid, irreversible, validated by science and our medical community. Period, he said. Republican Chase Tremont, that's his name. You are either male or female. This is not subject to one's opinion. It is a demonstrable fact. Well, thank God somebody's saying it. Right? Apart from me and everyone else in, obviously, Turfland and GCville. Okay? And then the Democrats come in with, ignoring gender dysphoria in children could be psychologically harmful. They're so bloody rare unless you tell them about it. Because it's a social contagion, isn't it? Trans people are already dealing with the feeling of not feeling wanted. Well, kids, just leave the kids alone, right? Then you won't have any trans ones. Get gender identity. And that's what they've done. Got gender identity out of the classroom. As they debated, a group of protesters shouted against bill sponsor Republican rep Randy Fine, chanting, racist, sexist, anti-queer. Randy Fine, get out of here. Well, that's not exactly Wordsworth, but we'll have it. We know that these are all just part of the governor's agenda to attack our community. What community? And to take rights away from people disguised under parents' rights. By people, they mean children. By people, they mean children, right? Said Salvatore Vieira, a field manager for Equality Florida, who led the chants. I fully believe in an equal and a beautiful Florida for everyone. Yet usual nutter speak, yep? So the House sent DeSantis another bill that bans children from an adult live performance. Why is there even needing a bill to do that? But they do. Proposal aimed at the governor's opposition to drag shows. They're not drag shows, they're queer performativity. The legislation would allow the state to revoke the food and beverage licenses of businesses that admit children to adult performances. Yes! The DeSantis administration has moved to pull the liquor licenses of business that held drag shows, alleging children were present during lewd displays. Well, we know children were present because we've seen it. So this is supposed to be AP, right? They're supposed to be quite a good one. They're not. The House also passed a bill that will ban people from entering bathrooms other than their sex assigned at birth. It requires bathrooms in public places to be listed as men, women, or unisex. Well done! DeSantis has made culture wars a priority. This is not about the culture war. This is just putting straight what should have been straight in the first place. Former President Donald Trump and other Republican presidential hopefuls have been increasingly attacking DeSantis' leadership, including an ongoing feud with Disney, one of the state's largest employers and political donors. Right. Disney actually opposed the Don't Say Gay bill. But there's nothing Don't Say Gay about it. Is there? Go and have a look for yourself. See what you think. They've stolen that as well. Don't say gay. That's from the military years ago. They've stolen that. There is nothing original about this LGBTQ bunch of nutters. Nothing. Not one damn thing. So what you've got there is a story about a teacher that doesn't add up due to the dates, right? Who left before the incident occurred. Anybody else think we've got a TQ plus nutter in the classroom here? Right before everything occurred. Then we've got Desantis, who's passing a law that is putting everything back in place to get rid of the queer theorists and the nutters. Yep. And we've got two major reporters of news, CNN and AP News, lying. Or at the very least, obfuscating. But I shall be interested to hear what you make of it, because I thought it was fascinating to read those two things together. Go and have a go, and don't forget some recommendations from me today for both those interviews, one with Steph and the other one from the YouTube channel of Lou. All right, so go, have fun. I'll see you later. It's good to be back. Bye.